Jaswarat. Mataji's. Bhagavatam Param Brahma. Satruham. Tasagyana Vikyapte. Yatam Vidvam Najaswarat. Bhagavatam Param Brahma. Satvena Lena Satruhan. Tadvasakyana Vikyapte. Jatam Vidvam Najaswarat. Word for word, Bhagavatam, the Lord, Param, Supreme, Brahma, Brahman, Satvena, having an uncontaminated existence, Avshena, by a plenary portion, Satruhan, O killer of the enemy, Vidura, Tattvasakyana, the philosophy of the 24 material elements. Vigyapte, for explaining. Jatam, appeared. Vidvan, knowing. Ajaha, the unborn, Lord Brahma. Swarat, independent. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Maitreya continued, O killer of the enemy, the unborn Lord Brahma, who is almost independent in acquiring knowledge, could understand that a portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his quality of pure existence, had appeared in the womb of Devahuti, just to explain the complete state of knowledge known as Sankhya Yoga. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, it is stated that the Lord Himself is the compiler of Vedanta Sutra, and He is the perfect knower of Vedanta Sutra. Similarly, the Sankhya philosophy is compiled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His appearance as Kapila Dev. There is an imitation Kapila who has a Sankhya philosophical system, but Kapila, the incarnation of God, is different from that Kapila. Kapila, the son of Kadam Muni, in his system of Sankhya philosophy, very explicitly explained not only the material world, but also the spiritual world. Brahma could understand this fact because he is Swarat, because almost independent in receiving knowledge. He is called Swarat because he did not go to any school or college to learn, but learned everything from within. Because Brahma is the first living creature within this universe, he had no teacher. His teacher was the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, who is seated in the heart of every living creature. Brahma acquired knowledge directly from the Supreme Lord within the heart. Therefore, he is sometimes called Swarat and Aja. Another important point stated here, Satvena Avshena. When the Supreme Personality Godhead appears, He brings with Him all His paraphernalia of Vaikuntha. Therefore, His name, His form, His qualities, His paraphernalia, and His entourage all belong to the transcendental world. Real goodness is in the transcendental world. Here in the material world, the quality of goodness is not pure. Goodness may exist, but there is also maybe some tinges of passion and ignorance. In the spiritual world, the unalloyed quality of goodness prevails. There, the quality of goodness is called Sudasattva, pure goodness. Another name for Sudasattva is Vasudeva, because God is born from Vasudeva. Another meaning is that when one is purely situated in the qualities of goodness, he can understand the form, name, quality, paraphernalia, and entourage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Amshena also indicates that the Supreme Person of Godhead Krishna appeared as Kapila Dev in a portion of his portion. God expands as either Kala or Amsa. Amsa means direct expansion, and Kala means expansion of the expansion. There's no difference between the expansion of the expansion, and the Supreme Person of Godhead directly, as there's no difference between one candle and another. But still, the candle from which the others are lit is called the original. Krishna therefore is called the Param Brahma, or the ultimate Godhead, and cause of all causes. Omega Tibidandasya Gyanana Shalakaya Chakshumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpa Turubhascha Kripa Sindhuve Vicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Katachana Yata Yasmin Duskuram Sukuram Bhavet Visvite Vipiyatim Shah Shri Chaitanyanam Nanamitam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktaranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The glorification or appearance of the Lord is a universal occasion. It seems so rare. There's only a few of us here for a festival to celebrate the Lord. But on the universal level, everyone knows about it. In London, Srila Prabhupada, there was Gaura Aarti going on. And devotees are dancing like crazy and having such an ecstatic time, dancing for their lordships. And then Srila Prabhupada says, "You didn't see them?" It's like, "See who, Prabhupada?" "You didn't see Lord Brahma and Narada Muni have come for Gaura Aarti." Like, really? Yeah, they were there. They've come for Gaura Aarti. So if you go to the Soho temple, they have these small Vyasasanas on the altar on the side. And that's apparently for Lord Brahma and Narada Muni so they can see. And then the disciples asked Srila Prabhupada, what were they doing? Oh, they were laughing. They were seeing how you guys were dancing. So the appearance of the Lord is a universal occasion. Leading up to this verse, all the demigods and even Lord Brahma, who's the first living creature of this universe, has come to witness the appearance. They've come to just take darshan of Devahuti, who's keeping Lord Kapila Deva in her womb. So we can see this happen many times when the Lord's appearing. When Lord Krishna appeared in the prison house of Kamsa, and Devaki was pregnant with Krishna in the womb, all the demigods appeared offering beautiful prayers. She looked effulgent. Kamsa was worried, okay, someone is coming now. And so many beautiful prayers were offered by the demigods, waiting for the appearance of Krishna. For pradicharya sadhanam vinasyata diskritam dhammasam sthapanataya svamabhami yuge yuge. The Lord appears to deliver his devotees and to annihilate the miscreants and to establish religious principles. He appears millennium after millennium. So the whole universe is excited about this. This festival we're about to have, this Sankirtan festival, this is part of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, actually. We're part of the Gaura Lila. You think, how is that possible? I just rocked up. It didn't mean, how am I supposed to be part of it? No. There's one devotee, his name's Jayadev Prabhu. He's, there's this one. There's another one. He's a disciple of Shivaram Swami. And he does past life regressions. So he tells many stories of his past, these accounts, and he tries to help devotees who've had some trauma that may go back from a previous lifetime. So he's doing one treatment on one devotee, and she had a very troublesome childhood, so they're trying to trace back. Maybe the trauma goes back. So they go back, and one lifetime, and this devotee is a monkey in Vrindavan. So as you know, like if you've committed some sinful activity in the holy dham, then you take birth as an animal in the holy dham, and because you don't do any bad karma because you're an animal, then when you die there, you go back to Godhead the next life. So she was a monkey in Harinam, and is talking in this monkey life, you know. So what you used to do? Oh yeah, used to steal bananas, used to steal things from people's glasses and all these things. Used to do all these naughty things. And I used to listen to the Bhagavatam class. Okay, cool. So then we get into the time when the monkey passes away. And then suddenly just tears just start flowing from her eyes. And he goes, what do you see? He goes, oh, he's so beautiful, he's so beautiful. What do you see? Oh, it's Govinda. Oh, it's Govinda? What is he saying to you? I'm telling him that I want to go back with him. He goes, yes, you'll come back to me. So it's there in the Krishna book, it's revealed that before going back to Godhead, you appear where Krishna is having his pastimes in a certain universe, and you kind of practice serving the Lord directly before going back to Goloka Vrindavan, for example. So this devotee is telling Krishna, goes, I want to go back with you. No, he's like, yes, you'll come back with me, but you'll just appear in a universe where my pastimes are taking place. And then where does she appear? As a kid in ISKCON. So this ISKCON movement is actually the pastimes of the Lord, of Lord Chaitanya. This Sankirtan movement that we're appearing in. It's not an ordinary thing. The demigods all know about it. They're taking birth in the Sankirtan movement because it's never been so easy before to go back to Godhead. Well, in Satyuga, you used to meditate for 100,000 years. And, you know, in Treta Yuga, big sacrifices, tons of ghee and gold and jewelry, solid gold, solid jewels, diamonds. That you can't get now, that's for sure. And you live a bit longer then. And then Dwapara Yuga, like deity worship, it's not like what we have now. We have like most of the jewelry is like plastic and the clothing, and it's not as like it was in Dwapara Yuga. If you want to know what it was like worshipping the deity in Dwapara Yuga, in South India, I think it was like 10 years ago, they found the treasury of I think it was Lord Padmanabha. And in this treasury, they're still counting it, I think, but last time I saw the news report, it was like they estimated $22 billion worth of treasure. Because they understood the kings, everyone knew that everything belonged to the Lord. So they gave the wealth to the temple to the Lord. That's the deity worship. And now in Kali Yuga, how long do you actually live? You know, we said it says 100 years, but you know, when someone's like 70, 80, we kind of think, okay, soon. You know, but how much longer do we have? 30, 40, 50 years. But just within that short amount of time, you can surpass all the heavenly planets and Mahajana Tapaloka, even Brahmaloka, and even pass the Vaikuntha planets to hit to the highest Vaikuntha planet, is Goloka Vrindavan, because of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These demigods are seeing it, people just shooting past it. What's going on here? What's going there on the planet Earth? It's Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. So we saw that also with Lord Chaitanya appearing. When Sachi Devi was also pregnant with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the demigods appeared in human form as brahmanas and giving gifts to Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra. So we can see that the appearance of the Lord is not ordinary thing. That's what we're trying to understand. Jammakam chame divyam ivnyoveti tatvata taktadeyam punah jama naitimam iti sojana. Shri Shri Prahlad Shingadev ki. That the activities and the appearance of the Supreme Lord, if one knows the transcendental nature of those, upon leaving this body, then you don't take another material body, you come back to Krishna. So that's what we're trying to do by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, to understand that. And we can follow in the footsteps of Lord Brahma. He is Brahma Hirda Adi Kaviya. He's the original Kavi, but he's addressed here as Swarat, independent. No one's independent. But Srila Prabhupada says real independence means to be fully dependent on the mercy of the Lord despite any material condition. That was Lord Brahma's situation. What was the material condition? He appeared on this lotus flower, didn't know where he was. he went searching. Where would I come from? What is the meaning of all this? So he searched down this lotus flower and couldn't find anything. In this despondent, dependent mood, he's sitting on this lotus flower thinking, what do I do now? So he hears this crashing of the waves against the body of the Lord, tapa, tapa. He executes austerity. But the execution of austerity means that we're calling out to the Lord, I'm dependent on you. Otherwise, what is it? Prakriti kriya mayani, guna kamani savishaha, ahankara viduratma, katahamit yamanyate. Under ahankara, become a fool, viduratma, a super foolish soul. Why katahamit yamanyate? We think we're doing it. I am getting pure because I did this chanting, because I did this, I did this. It's not possible. We need all the help we can get. From devotees, from the Lord, from the spiritual master, from the sastra. Again and again, we need help. That's why Lord Brahma is considered Swarat, because he's always dependent on the Lord. He's the leader of our sampradaya, so we follow in his footsteps. So when the Lord appears, not only does the universe know about it and they're celebrating, but the mercy of the Lord is unlimited. It says here that he's coming with the paraphernalia of Vaikuntha, the entourage, the name, the form, the qualities. Are we not seeing that now in this movement? So many, not just one entourage. We obviously, our main entourage that we look up to is Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was speaking with Bhavananda Prabhu, and he was telling him, I didn't want to go to the material world. Krishna says, no, you go. No, I don't like austerity, I don't want to go. Krishna said, you just write books and I'll take care of everything else. Such a sincere, such a close associate of the Lord. And we can see that these books, we're distributing the whole month, but hopefully distribute as much as possible whenever we can. They have so much mystic power. How many people's lives have been changed just from these books? There's devotees all over the world, in places we could never imagine. You know, in Africa, in America, in South America, in Australia, in Russia. It's taking over Russia nearly now. Whoever thought? It's just knowledge that's given by Srila Prabhupada. That these books have so much power behind it. The power of the Lord is there. Srila Prabhupada said, I did not write these books, the Lord dictated it. Prabhupada even read his own books. I don't think we would do something like that. Read your own books, read your own post. You just read, you put a post on the internet, and you don't read it. Again, you know what it is. You just wait and see if other people read it. But Prabhupada would read it, and he would relish. Devotees are reading out loud to him, Krishna book on a morning walk. He's hearing that the nectar that's coming from this knowledge of the spiritual world. That's where we belong. And when we hear more about the spiritual world, then you want to go there. Just like now it's cold here, so probably most of you want to go to Australia where it's nice and sunny and warm and beautiful beaches, and you can go to the Great Barrier Reef and do snorkeling. You can see all the different colors in the Barrier Reef. You can do this like sky walks in this like where the rainforests are, and they've got like these bridges on top, and you can walk and see everything. So you see this, or you see the advertising for it, and it makes you want to go. It's like, oh wow, you see happy people there in the modeling in the photos. And you're like, yeah, I want to go. Because you heard about it. There's some advertising. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is the advertisement for the spiritual world. Yeah. This is where real goodness is, without any tinges of ignorance or passion. Suddha Sattva, this Vasudev state. Because anytime there's like passion or ignorance, it means misery. Vaikuntha means no misery. That's where we belong. And we can practice that atmosphere right here and now. I heard a lecture by Devanrita Swami. And he said, devotional service means back to Godhead. I was like, what? Where'd you get that from? Because usually the idea is that, okay, you do devotional service, then you go back to Godhead. He's saying, no, it's non-different. I'm thinking, how is that possible? So then maybe you can have a look yourself. It's in the last purport, the second chapter. And Srila Prabhupada states there that devotional service is non-different from the transcendental world. Why? Because everyone is trying to serve Krishna's senses. Whereas in the material world, one is trying to serve their own senses. And this is what the soul needs. It needs this emotional connection to Krishna. Atmiyandriya priti vanchitali parekam. Krishendriya ichit prema ichit priti thare premanam. Sorry. That lust means trying to serve one's own senses, but love. This is what we all after. You can be poor, you can be like sick and everything, but if you have love, you're still good. You can have all the money in the world, you could be famous, you could have so much prestige and being famous, whatever the material world offers you, but you know love, then you're going to commit suicide. We've seen all these famous people, all these actors and rich singers and whatever else. They committed suicide, they got everything, what's going on? Because they're missing out on real love. And that's what the devotional service is giving us. Nitya Sita Krishna Prema Savakaranoi Shravanadi Sudachita Koriyadai. That the original Siddha of the living entity is Krishna Prema, has prema inside. But just by Shravanadi, just by hearing or devotional service, one awakens, it rises. It's not like you get it from outside love. No, it's inside. We just have to awaken it more and more. And that is done by hearing and chanting about Krishna, serving Krishna. It awakens it more and more. And then we hear about the unlimited expansions in incarnations. It says that just like waves in a river keep coming. Can you count them? No. That's how many incarnations are coming of the Lord. The Lord loves us so much. We've turned our back for how many lifetimes? You know, imagine someone like that. You've had such an intimate relationship. This is like the relationship so close. Mama Mamso Jivaloke. We're like a part and parcel. You know, Toshani has her daughter Gita Priya. You know. That's all she thinks about. It's like part of her. You know, that's all. It's like such a deep connection, mother and child. It's the closest thing you will get. But even closer is our connection with Krishna. Maya Vamso, we're like a part and parcel of him. And he tells us straight, you're struggling with what? The six senses, which include the mind. I'm struggling with that. I don't know about you guys. It's a big struggle. But what does Krishna give us in this Sankirtan movement? Like his expansions, his incarnations of prasadam, controlling the tongue and the senses of prasadam, hearing kirtan. And devotee association is such an amazing thing. We've really felt that, and coming together like this, it's such a, just seeing tilak, just seeing devotees, just seeing, I'm not alone, my gosh. There's other people doing it too. That's so cool. This is all part of Krishna's mercy, his incarnation as Lord Chaitanya, and sending his Shakti Avesha avatars as in Srila Prabhupada. And in that way, we can know more about Krishna. And the more you know about Krishna, the more you fall in love with Krishna. Like even reading this Nectar Devotion in the morning, it was so esoteric, but it was so sweet at the same time. Like there's so many devotees that have like a deity of Ladu Gopal, like baby form of Krishna. And then, yeah, you can imagine Gopal running to Mother Yashoda and he's all covered in dust. And then Mother Yashoda embraces him and just wants to breastfeed him. Out of so much ecstatic love, there's so much milk flowing, it just covers him over and then cleanses all the dust off. And then like sometimes we see in Abhishek, like I remember coming for Nishinga Trodasi and they have these huge Abhisheks, like an oil one during Japa. I got confused. I didn't know what was happening during Japa. It's like, oh, Jen, what's going on? It's already darshan after like a few minutes. And then it's like, yeah, you can see the Lord's body is just glistening with these different oils. And then they do this like huge Abhishek. They like put bananas on him. Or they cover him with shandesh, you know, like... It's such a different juices and stuff. Maybe you've seen the Abhishek in with the Panchatattva, this big Abhishek, so many juices and juices flowing everywhere. You know, it's like all over the stage and here and there. And then you see devotees walking out with 2 little bottles full of Abhishek, you know, and they're like drinking, yeah, going all in ecstasy. This Abhishek ceremony is so sweet, and it just captures the mind more and more. And when the mind is captured by Krishna or by his incarnations, and then we don't feel the pangs of this material world anymore. We actually feel the bliss, the eternal blissful life, full of knowledge of the spiritual world. And that's where we're supposed to go. And our ticket is Srimad Bhagavatam. Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. This is how we're going to go back, by hearing Bhagavatam, serving the Bhagavatam, and serving and living the Bhagavatam. Gantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. If you have any comments or questions. Yes? No? So the question is, holy name is supposed to be more important. So can you go back to Godhead without reading the Bhagavatam? Yeah, the holy name is, everything is there, and you can go back. It says even in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that you don't even need initiation. You can just chant. But the thing is that we are poisoned by impersonalism and Mayavad philosophy. So we have this sound vibration of the Hare Krishna Maha mantra, but very easily we can interpret it as something impersonal. Thinking that, okay, yes, then I will be the Krishna if I chant this. How many Mayavas impersonals are chanting the holy name? It's everyone, all these impersonals are chanting Maha mantra, but they're not getting the benefit. Srimad Bhagavatam is purely for rooting out this impersonalism Mayavad. That's why we have Prabhupada's Pranam mantra, Namaste Saraswati Deve. He's the servant of Saraswati Thakur. Gauravani Pracharine, Harinama Harinama Eva Kevalam. That's the Gauravani. That's the message of Lord Chaitanya. How does he spread it? Nivasesha Sunyavari Pastitade Shitarine. By eliminating impersonalism and voidism throughout the Western world. How did he do that? What did Krishna tell him? Go and write the books. Lord Chaitanya Sangatam, this flood of love of God emanating from Mayapur. is inundating everyone. And there's a whole list you'll see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's like pretending brahmacharis, fruity workers, all these different types of cheaters, and they're all getting drowned. But 2 are floating on the surface. They don't get drowned. The impersonalists and the Mayavadis. It's actually said that they're running away from Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan movement. So impersonalism and Mayavada actually gives you the ability to not drown in the love of God. So then when we reach Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear about the Jama and Karma, how it's Divyam, how the birth and activities, the transcendental nature of it. And then whatever impersonalism and Mayavada gets rooted out. And then you can chant better. Actually, the Srimad Bhagavatam is actually only glorifying the holy name, the importance of it. Vyaktakari Bhagavate Kara Bara Bara Kali Yuganama Nama Sankirtana Sara. Kaviraj Goswami says that the Bhagavatam again and again, Ka Bara Bara, again and again, saying that the essence of Kali Yuga Dharma, Sara means essence, and Kali Yuga Dharma is Nam Sankirtan, by chanting and dancing. That's what the Bhagavatam gives. If you don't read the Bhagavatam, you can't appreciate Harinam Sankirtan. And without doing Harinam Sankirtan, you can't appreciate the Bhagavatam. It works both ways. It's a holistic thing. There's no like just one thing. You know, we need the deity to keep pure and wake up early. We need devotee association. Oh, I can just chant by myself like Haridas Thakur. What does Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur say? You're just pretending. All you'll think about is money and sex. You have to chant with the devotees. We need to serve the devotees. We need the temple to recharge. All these Sankirtan devotees, there's a Sankirtan festival because all these devotees sacrifice so much of themselves to please the Lord, to spread this knowledge and help other people. So they come back and they feel so much reciprocation from the Lord, from the devotees, from the kirtan, from the holy name. So we need everything we can get to get back to Godhead. We can't just like think of one thing. We're going to grab it all. That makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Just want to add something. 2 days ago I read on Facebook some Christian, he got asked, should we only pray, or what is more important, praying or reading the Bible? And he said, it's like breathing, you have to inhale and you have to exhale. So both should be there.
Yeah. Amen, brother.
Thank you, Prabhu. You mentioned that Krishna consciousness is dormant in everyone, and it reminded me of this example. It's like wood and fire. Fire is already in the wood. So if you take 2 pieces of wood and you wrap them together, then fire comes. So, but then on this other hand, we have this verse, that through the mercy of Guru and Krishna, Pramade Pramitya Kona Bhagavana Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhaktilata Bija. Through the mercy we get the seed of the Bhaktilata Bija. So can you refer to this? On the one hand, it's dormant. On the other hand, we get something. What do we get? How do we get it? Why do we get it?
Okay. Let's see if I got so you have this example that the fire is dormant in wood and it can be ignited. Because Krishna consciousness is in every living entity, it can be ignited. And then we have the verse of the Guru is planting the seed of bhakti, and then that's how we start our spiritual life, you could say. So, yes, it's dormant, but it's covered a lot. And we need a lot of help to awaken that. It's not as easy as rolling pieces of wood together, obviously. We can see that within ourselves. So we need as much help as possible. So then Krishna sends someone to help you in the form of the spiritual master to not just spark that, but ignite it to make a blaze. We see in Lord Chaitanya's, in the Anshulila, we see the different stages of this blazing type of love of God, how it just steps up more and more and more and more. So we do have a spark, but on our own we can't ignite it. We need someone very expert in lighting up fires here and there, burning up the material existence. Really good. Wherever they go, they just burn up material attachments. We can see that with the sadhu. You see that with our spiritual master. You can just by them glancing at you, you feel cleansed, or like just by them, smiling upon you, or just hearing the discourses or hearing their kirtan. So much work has been done just because of that love of Krishna that's emanating from them. It kind of splashes onto us. So yes, it's dormant, but we need all the help we can get. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Another one? Yeah.
Thank you so much for the wonderful lecture. At some point in the lecture, you talked about being dependent on the Lord, even in the most difficult circumstances. And could you talk a bit more about this? Because in those very difficult circumstances, it seems to me that it's maybe possible for me to do the minimum that I should do, but it seems very difficult to do more. So I would be glad if you could talk a bit more about this.
So we have trying circumstances, and it feels like we can't do as much service as before. Is that kind of what you're meaning? Yeah. So the material world, when one starts devotional service, Prabhupada coined this, we're waging a war on illusion. So in a war, then there's some casualties, or you can get injured, and it gets tough sometimes. Sometimes you have a spare moment, you can sort of do a bit more. So like I said, we're totally dependent. Everything is carried out by the Lord. So our side is how to just somehow stay connected. So if we have less capacity than what we thought previous to stay connected, Krishna appreciates that whatever capacity you have and you connect, he appreciates that just as much as when you had more capacity and then you gave more. Because you're giving your capacity, whatever, if it's small or big, small or big. Say for example, like you have some injury and you're in bed, and some people have they're in comatose or they're paralyzed. They can't pick up beads and chant, for example, but they can chant in the mind, and Krishna helps. Krishna understands, all right, you're in this situation, and then you have a desire to stay connected, and he'll help you. Somehow the holy name's there in your mind. Somehow. There'll be a lot of devotees who've gone through a tough time can vouch for something like that. Like even Kadamba Maharaj, I think it was when he got shot and then he was in the hospital bed, and there was no chanting of rounds then, but they played this, you got the little machine and it has Prabhupada going, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. So he said that was just going on non-stop and nothing else left. And he stayed connected. So if the capacity goes down, we try and find that small thing that keeps us connected. But obviously if we have more capacity and things aren't as tough, we try to do as much as possible. So then when the tough times comes, like old age, disease and death, they're going to come. Then somehow Krishna uses, it's kind of like what you carried from that time, it helps you during that tough time. So there's two sides. When we have a lot of capacity, it doesn't mean, we just do a little bit. Yeah, we do more. But then when the capacity is less, we don't lament, I had so much capacity before, I can only do so much. Krishna doesn't like it as now. No, he does, because you're giving your full capacity, even though it's a little bit. Does it make sense? Okay, cool. Right. Any other comments or questions? Jai. Gantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Harinam Ananda Prabhu ki. Srila Prabhupada ki.